Yeah, that's a complex question. I mean, one of the ways I would explain this is, I'm not sure if you ever heard of something called the paradox of plenty.
I think you may have introduced that to me at one point in one of your papers, I believe.
So my country is a huge example, huge shining example of the paradox of plenty in this region, where it is demonstrated empirically in the research that countries that are rich in natural resources are the ones that are most likely to fail, right? And that shows you the huge disconnect between having plenty, so the money that you talk about, and then having the social outcomes that are desirable.
Okay.
And the countries, when you think about Venezuela, for example, Venezuela has the largest crude oil reserves in the world. And Guyana has discovered so much crude oil. I forget the number, but it's more than Trinidad ever had. I mean, Trinidad has been exporting oil and gas for over 100 years. And Guyana, just 2020 was when they started. So just 4 or 5 years ago. And they have more oil than Trinidad ever had. And this is a population of 800,000 people, roughly, which is, just about half, just a little bit more than half, Trinidad's population. So I estimate actually that Guyana, on a per capita basis, certainly it's the country with the most water on a per capita basis on Earth. And I think it's the country that has the most natural resources on Earth per capita.
Yeah.
But when you look at Guyana and the level of development or underdevelopment in Guyana, the paradox of plenty strikes at you. So it is very different to have resources and the material and the social outcomes. It is not necessarily the case that because you have one, you will have the other. And I'm saying that the paradox of plenty demonstrates that actually the more you have one, meaning the natural resources, the less likely you are to have positive social outcomes. And the reason for that is because when you look at countries like Trinidad and Tobago, like Guyana, like Venezuela even, versus countries that have natural resources like Norway, like Canada, like Australia, and the difference in those countries versus countries like us, like the ones I just mentioned, the Caribbean and Nigeria, for example, what makes the difference is institutional quality, the quality of your institutions, and whether your rule of law, your judiciary, your Ministry of Finance managing the budget properly, your social welfare division managing social benefits properly. If your institutions are weak, right, the more money you have, the more resources you have, the more that money gets ferreted away